Without further ado, I would like to welcome Yezmin Thomas to the stage. Let's give her a hand.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Morning.
Awesome. My name is Yezmin Thomas. I'm a financial coach, and I funded Yezmin Thomas Media LLC. My purpose is to help people live out their best financial life. Why financial coaching? Why coaching? Well, I have two big reasons. My first reason was inspired through my work as a broadcast journalist. I was doing over 17 years in media, way too many stories of people who were losing with their money. They were facing foreclosure, they were having their cars repoed, they were thinking they were investing in a great business venture, and they were actually participating in a Ponzi scheme. They were losing with money. And I kept telling these stories, hoping that this would help people prevent from making the same mistakes or become victims of fraud or losing with their money. And the phone kept ringing, and people kept telling me about their stories of how they lost with money. And I'm like, okay, I have the best intentions of helping through my journalism career, and I don't feel like I'm helping. Sure, I'm making a contribution, but people keep calling, so something's off right there. I realized that I needed to come earlier. I needed to find them earlier with preventive work, with education. And that's why I decided to become a financial coach. Are you guys familiar with the Dave Ramsey show? Yeah, okay, so I became one of his preferred coaches here in Wichita, and I teach his principles. But the really driver that keeps me up at night, that drives my desire to start a business from scratch to teach people to get out of it, is my own personal story. Do you guys remember what happened in 2008? Who wants to tell me what happened? Recession. The recession happened, and the recession hit hard in my household. We were used to living with 2 paychecks. We had credit cards, we were normal people, we had a mortgage, we had 2 car loans, we had student loans, we had all the loans everyone has. We were just normal, right? We were doing what the society says you should do to be successful and to look the part and have no money in the bank. Well, yeah, we were living paycheck to paycheck. We had some money in savings, money in retirement. I thought we were just, living the life. That is, until you lose an income. And so you go from making payments and living a life with 2 incomes to having half of the money and the same payments. Well, the math is really easy there. It doesn't add up. So through a very stressful time, we had to learn how to really do it right, because we had done what society said we needed to do to be successful, and clearly I was in the hole. We were in the hole, and it was very scary. I was very stressed. My husband didn't have a job. I was the main breadwinner. I would go to work in panic. Suddenly the room would be turning around. I later realized that I was having panic attacks. And I didn't have options. I couldn't quit my job because we didn't have another income, People were being laid off, and I had a job. I had to be grateful for that. So I realized that was a gift. And today, 11 years later, I can tell you, going through the recession is the best thing that ever happened to me, because it taught me how I didn't want to live. I don't ever want to live in fear of not having enough money and not being able to provide for my family, of not knowing if I'm going to be able to retire, of not knowing how I'm going to pay for my kids' college education. If that hadn't happened to me, I'll be living today in the same state of total disbelief, thinking I was doing fine, looking the part, having no money, having no plan. So then I realized it wasn't just me. It's not just me who has a problem. These are current statistics. 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Look around, no judgment. It doesn't matter how we all look like. 80% of the people in this room, according to national statistics, live paycheck to paycheck. That means if they're going to work today and they have a flat tire, they have to pull a visa to pay for a new tire. they cannot afford to pay for the tire and pay cash for it. And I hope you see where I'm going now. Where do you think 80% of Americans that are living in stress go to every day? They go to work. And they go to work and they're stressed, and instead of being focused in your organizations, in your companies, in my company, in your company, they're thinking, do I have to file for bankruptcy? Am I going to have enough money for rent? Am I going to have enough money to send my kids to college? So I decided to create a solution. So now, as a coach, I go to organizations, I do one-on-one coaching, I train people at organizations, big organizations, smaller organizations. That's me at Walmart. That's me with a group of construction workers. I do it in English, I do it in Spanish. I am here to ask you, stop living like the other 80%, embrace financial wellness. And if you want to become part of my wall of honor and cut your credit cards, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you with that. This is my contact information. Please feel free to take a picture. There's business cards in the back if you guys want to hold on to my information as well.
All right, let's give Yezmin a hand.
Thank you.
Okay, you know the drill. It's time to ask questions. Okay, I'll start to make it easy on you, okay? But then it's up to you. So, in my humble opinion, the credit bureaus run the scam on us all because they legitimize themselves by assessing us. And, you know, I went to buy a car and they told me that I had zero credit, and yet I was living the American dream because I had no debt, I had no credit cards, I owed nobody anything. That should be perfect credit, but it's not in the credit bureau's eyes. How do we, and it's affecting us. The price of our insurance is based on our credit rating and so many other things now. How do we work with that?
See, we live in a system that rewards people being in debt. In order for you to have a good credit score, which is different than good credit history, for you to have a good credit score, you have to be in debt. Yesterday, I was on the phone counseling a couple who make a lot of money, $10,000 per month. That's after taxes. It comes in, that's a lot of money. They live paycheck to paycheck. They just pulled $1,000 to start their emergency savings account. And they have all the cars. They probably have a really good credit score, but they are $100,000 in debt. They probably have an 800-point score, but they're deeply in debt. Is that living the dream? No. The system rewards debt. A good credit score means you have to have a lot of debt to be able to report to the bureaus to be able to have good credit score. Now, the thing is, what is a good credit score going to give you? Better interest rates to get you in debt. I'm here to ask you, do not live in debt. Save up. I know it's a challenge. I know it's not the norm. But if you could save up and go and pay cash for your car, you don't have to deal with that. Now, it is true. If you do not have good credit score, you're going to pay higher interests. You're going to pay higher insurance rates. That is true. But that is the price that in order to become debt-free and have the security of not owing money and committing your income, your future income today, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. You don't know if tomorrow we're going to have another recession. You don't know if tomorrow you're going to lose your job. However, you committed your money today for 5 years on payments on a car. So yes, if you become debt-free and if you have a zero credit score, which doesn't mean you have bad credit history, it means that you have money in the bank because you're not paying debts. That's what it means. So the system is wrong, and the system should reward people who have actually money in the bank. So having a good credit score is not a reflection of how well you're doing financially. Going back to the example of this family, they have $100,000 in debt, and they have great incomes. Are they doing well financially? I don't think so. Because if tomorrow anything in their income formula changes, they cannot make their payments. So Understand that having a good credit score is different than having good credit history. Good credit history means you're paying your bills on time, you are a person of integrity, you're responsible. Take care of your credit history. Forget about the credit score because you're paying for it.
I applaud you for this because there's a whole lot of people that need this help. How are you reaching out? How are you getting known? How are you marketing so people will find you?
So I am bilingual. My first language is Spanish, and I started my business really wanting to target the Hispanic community because I didn't feel like there was enough information out there in Spanish. So I have a blog, I have a podcast. I just reached 100,000 downloads on my Spanish podcast. So I'm mainly using my background as a multimedia journalist to reach out to people. I do a lot of going to events, one-on-one, just like networking. I haven't started doing advertising and any of that. It's more of word of mouth, getting to know people. I feel like people, once they know my story and my motivation, they will understand why I do this. So, you know, putting ads out there in a topic that's sensitive, where people resist seeking out for help, where they think, why would I pay someone to help me get out of debt? I'm just gonna get out of debt. But they're still in debt, so obviously, you know, they don't have the know-how to get out of it. So right now, it's all about one-on-one, reaching out, using social media, putting messages out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. I heard a few things that you said, and I recognize that I'm in the big club of the 80%. Woo! And that you also, you go out and you do some training. So I was curious, and I heard you say you do the podcast, so what is your ideal client? I mean, who would you like for us to help you reach?
Excellent question. Thank you for asking. I have two ideal clients. One is an individual who realizes they could be doing a whole lot better financially, and they're willing to invest in the help of a coach. Somebody who has the income and really who sees the value, because anyone who has a job and is making money could hire me and could make a great return on their investment within the 3 first months. Now, that's one of my ideal clients. However, I find that the ideal client, the person that I would really meet 10 years ago, that I would really help, does not have the mindset or the financial resources to invest in themselves. But they do go to work and they're stressed and they're not being productive. So now businesses are losing because people are stressed financially. So that's why I thought, what if we could bring these to their places of employment as a way for companies to invest in the well-being of their employees? This is not a training so you can sell more. It's not a training so you can have better customer service. This is an investment that you as a company are making on your employees because you're telling them, I care about your well-being. I understand people are stressed financially. I want to give you these resources so that you can become a happier, more focused, better person. So that's why I do the workshops. And I can do them in English or Spanish. And that way, companies, which are my second ideal customer, can bring these trainings, invest in their employees, but in reality, they're investing in themselves, because better focused employees are more productive, you know, less mistakes, higher revenues. Yes?
Thank you. I was wondering what the scope of your services are beyond reducing debt, and then how do you get paid? What is your fee structure like?
Sure. My services focus on getting people to stop living paycheck to paycheck, to learn how to save money, to plan for the future. I am not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. I leave that to those who are experts in the topic. My expertise is helping people realize where their money is going, how to budget, how to establish priorities, and how to prepare and protect their assets. So I'll inform them. My services are merely educational. I inform them on how to turn their situation around. My services for one-on-one coaching range from $475 for 3 sessions to $1,675 for 12 sessions. So people who want to have a monthly check-in with me can sign up for the yearly plan. People who want help, but they're trying to get the money together can sign up for the 3 months and then maybe sign up to continue. I do not do monthly payments because I would become another debt for them. So I teach them how to get the money from their income, because if you have an income, you have the money. People who say that they can't afford it, it's really an excuse because they have money they can afford. $475 is the average monthly payment in America on a 7-year loan. So people are making the choice of having a car or going out to eat instead of investing in their own financial well-being. Now for the workshops, that's different. It depends on the size of the group. It depends if I have to travel, but it can range anywhere from $1,250 to $3,000 per session. It depends on the group, the setting, the location. Thank you.
Yes, I noticed that you mentioned that you were part of the Dave Ramsey. What did you go to that school? How does that done? Do you get a certificate? How does that actually work?
Do I get, what did you say?
Certificate.
You went through the Dave Ramsey,
Yes.
and are you certified as a Dave Ramsey coach?
It is called a designation. It's not they don't call it a certification, it's a designation, and yes. So Dave Ramsey has books, and he has financial peace classes, and then he has leadership, and then he has other coaching programs for people like me who want to become financial coaches. So I went through his financial coach master training, and they now rebranded to where they call us preferred Ramsey coaches. So we go through a training, and then we stay in a personal, professional development program where we participate in monthly trainings, and we're part of a circle where, it's like they're coaching us back, we can ask them questions, we're in continuous development. And we teach his principles.
Okay. So then is it an ongoing thing? I mean, what do you pay to go, or are you paid to take that Dave Ramsey course and keep going and updating yourself and everything? What's that cost you?
Yeah, they have different tiers. So the training itself, I believe, I took it about a year ago. It cost me somewhere in the $1,600. I would have to look back and check. I think it was because they had different incentives where if you sign up earlier, you save some money. So it was less than $2,000 for the training itself. If you want to be in the preferred coaching group where you get that monthly training opportunities, then you have to pay a monthly fee of $79 to be in the group and receive this training. So it's a constant investment that you do, but I believe I'm getting the best training to help people get out of it and live their best financial life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, don't look at me. This is on you.
You guys are too quiet.
There we go.
You cut the credit cards and stuff. I'm one of the club of freeloaders where you use credit cards and you get your cash back and stuff, but you pay it off every month. And they don't really like us, but you get all kinds of services. Do you ever work with your clients on doing that, or is it just too big of a temptation for them?
This is where we start.
Okay.
I do not believe in credit cards. I think credit cards enable you. I think people can be very responsible, like you,
Right.
and people can lose track of what they're spending.
Right.
I tried that before I really understood they were not an opportunity for me. I told my husband, I think it's a great idea if we make all the expenses on a credit card so we can accumulate the miles and I can go home, Mexico, and see my family more often. Well, in reality, when I wanted to use the miles, I had to pay to use the miles. I had to travel in the middle of the night. It was inconvenient. And then I realized when I was doing my budget, I was thinking like I had more money than I really had because I was paying one monthly bill for the credit card, but I already had all the expenses, day-to-day on the credit card. So I was looking at my checking account thinking I had more money, when in reality, I already owed it to the credit card. So I decided, you know what, this is a mess, I need to have daily accountability for my expenses, and when I put them on the credit card somewhere on the statement, they're out of sight. So it doesn't help me have better control of my money, and there's plenty of research that tells you that if you pay with plastic, you spend more, and that is true. So right now, it's either cash or debit card, and if we can't afford to pay cash for it, regardless of what it is, trip to Disney World, new car or old car, or ice cream, we don't buy it. It wasn't always that way, but my life went 360 degrees when I started practicing these principles.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a horrible temptation to overspend, but yeah, I understand. It's much more simple that way. I was just curious.
Yeah, it's simpler, and then people say, I just have them for emergencies. Really? When you have an emergency, that's the last moment in life when you want to get in debt, because then it becomes a double emergency.
Right, that's true. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, could you spend some time talking, have you received feedback from the employers that you've done workshops for about increased productivity and things along those lines? Because I've read stats that say anywhere from 8 to 32 hours a month are spent by employees on the job worrying about and taking care of their finances.
Yes.
So how much maybe feedback and productivity to bottom line are the employers that are hiring you experiencing?
Well, I couldn't tell you numbers exactly because I don't know if they have a way to really measure it, but they keep bringing me back. I mean, I've gone to Walmart 4 times because they understand that they're losing employees for a 50-cent per hour increase. So they're like going out there, finding all these employees, they train them, they put them on the job, and then months later, they leave because they want to make more money, and they're making 50 cents more per hour. Now, if you're making, you know, an hourly wage and you have kids, 50 cents might be a lot of money. However, these employees go on to take the new job, and it's not enough. And now they're looking for another job because we're not going to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that we don't know how to prioritize and manage our expenses. That's why I have, and this is true story, I have a client who makes $40,000 a month. That's almost $500,000 a year. He's living paycheck to paycheck. Clients who make $15,000 per month live paycheck to paycheck. The couple I was counseling yesterday on the phone, $10,000 after tax, monthly income. They don't know where it's going. It's not the money, the main problem, it's what we do with it. It's us. We are the problem. We don't have money problems. We have human problems because it's hard to control the inner child we have within. You know, and we go out and we want to buy stuff and we want the new car and we want the fancy, nice things, and we do look the part. But when you look at your bank account, you have no security because you have zero money in savings.
Real quick, do you do any educational seminars, just high level, on what services you offer and the situation that you're addressing?
Sure, yeah. So I do the trainings and I do more high-level educational seminars. And I can customize my program to your needs. So if you want me to address a group of, you are in financial wealth building, if you want me to customize a plan or a program for your particular needs, I can do that too. If you have, like, I'm going to be doing a series of trainings for a construction company because they realize that their employees, they make a lot of money, but there are seasons where they make a lot of money, and there are seasons where it rains and they can go to work, and so they struggle. So they realize the value of them learning how to manage their money better, so they can come to work, be more focused, they don't have to worry about them leaving because they want more stability with their income. So yeah, I can customize the content and the program to your needs. You know, if you want a 1 hour lunch and learn, a half an hour, a 3 hour, an all day retreat, I can do that.
All right, one more real quick.
Yeah, you kind of alluded to my question. Do you have a lot of experience with working with individuals that have flexible income from month
Yes.
to month?
Yeah, And there is a whole strategy on how you can make it work, because it's really hard, especially people in sales. They have a month where they make $2,000 and then they have a $10,000 month. Or they have a $5,000 month and then a $9,000 month. You know, so it is hard for them when they make the $9,000 not to think that they can make another $9,000 the next month, and then they're living the $9,000 income life standard, and then they actually made $4,000, you know? So yeah, I teach them how to prioritize and how to organize their expenses so that the ups and downs are not messing up with their income, they're not having to use credit cards to make up for the difference and all that stuff.
All right, and as a final question, but don't forget, you can engage afterwards, and we encourage that activity. Yezmin, what can we do to help you as a Wichita community?
Thank you for asking. So, I am a new business owner. I formally started the company about 6 months ago. I am new to Wichita. We moved in August to Wichita, moved back to Wichita after 14 years of not living here. So I feel like I don't know enough people, and I want to help a lot of people. So the first thing you can do is get my information, if you can take a picture of it, or there's my business cards. Contact me with people, you know, refer me to people. If you feel like you need one-on-one coaching and want to talk to me about it, please do so. If you work for an organization that has employees that could use a training, please let me know. If you want to put together a program for your clients, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. Ideally, I would like to talk to HR representatives in companies because they are the ones who are rolling out the employee wellness programs. So those are great contacts for me. Anybody who wants to roll out an employee wellness program, a workshop on financial literacy, and like I said, individuals who want to improve their finances through coaching. People who realize I could be doing a whole lot better, I just don't know how to get there, and I need some help.
All right, let's give Yezmin a hand.
Oh, here. Awesome.
She's trying.
It's not.
Okay, we went a little long today, but oh my gosh, you guys feel invigorated after that? Amazing stuff. Let's give Shani and Yezmin another hand. Amazing job today. Very quickly, thank you so much for coming today. Please come again. Encourage your friends to come. We'll be right here next week at 8:45, and look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
We just get some running water out of